A night out with friends can change everything. For one college student, it became the last chapter of her life. As usual, if you have anxiety or paranoia issues, I would suggest you not stay. But if you do stay, that's your business, you have free will. Now let's get into this case. In March of 2008, 22-year-old Eve Carson was enjoying a night out with friends. They were having a good time and making happy memories together. Meanwhile, two men were also out that night, but their intentions were very different. Instead of looking for fun, their aim was to find someone vulnerable. Eve, full of joy and innocence, didn't know that danger was near. The night seemed bright and cheerful for Eve and her friends, but it was dark for the two men roaming the area that fateful night. What started with smiles and laughter holds a tragic turn of events, reminding us that the world can sometimes be unpredictable, and not everyone has good intentions. Eve was born November 19th of 1985 and grew up in Athens, Georgia, a lively college town filled with energy and opportunity. Eve was a shining star in her community, known for her kindness and willingness to help others. Anyone who knew Eve knew that they could count on her for support or even advice. She was not a selfish person. Instead, she always put others first. Eve excelled in her academics. In high school, she even became class president and served as a vice president of the National Honor Society. People often wondered how she managed to balance so many responsibilities, but Eve handled everything with grace. Her positive spirit truly made a difference in the lives of those around her. Now, in the early morning hours of March 5th, 2008, Eve was walking to her vehicle after attending a night out with friends in North Carolina. Eve was originally from Georgia, like I stated in the beginning, but she found herself in North Carolina to attend college. Well, that night, she decided it was time to go back to campus. As she was walking to her vehicle, she was suddenly confronted by two men that she did not know: 17-year-old Lawrence Jr. and 21-year-old Demario Atwater. As she opened her car door, the two men ambushed her, pushed her inside her vehicle, and jumped in with her. Lawrence got into the driver's seat and Demario got into the back seat with Eve. She was absolutely terrified. Eve immediately started shaking and crying, shaking so much it was uncontrollable. They drove Eve to an ATM and withdrew $700 with one of her debit cards. They then drove to another ATM in Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill was the town Eve was attending college in, inside of North Carolina. When they went to the second ATM, they could not withdraw any more money. They tried 2 attempts at this ATM to get more money out, but they couldn't get anything. Eve immediately is starting to plead with them to let her go. She told them that they did not need to do what they were doing. She said, "You guys got the money." She was hoping that maybe her words would reach their hearts, but her cries fell on deaf ears. She had already seen their face, so they made their decision. After the failed attempt at the second ATM, Lawrence, the driver, drove to a wooded neighborhood. It was dark. Demario still in the back seat with Eve, holding her at gunpoint. The driver started feeling the weight of the situation. Despite her pleas, Lawrence and his friend Demario refused to turn around, as she begged for her life. They were scared that she might report them to police. Lawrence himself was on probation, and he knew that if he got in trouble again, he would face a long time in prison. The car came to a complete stop. Eve asked both of her abductors to pray with her. She begged them to pray, probably because she knew these were going to be some of her last moments, but they did not want to. As they forced Eve outside of the vehicle, she stood there and tears filled her eyes. Lawrence suddenly shot Eve multiple times. She had a shot in her right shoulder, a shot in her hand, a shot in her right butt cheek. The other shots went elsewhere. These shots did not kill her. She fell to the ground, pleading with her abductors, but they didn't care, not one bit. So Demario got a shotgun, put it to Eve's right temple, and pulled the trigger. This was her final blow. The shot to her right temple also went through her right hand, showing that she tried to protect herself from this shot. Demario and Lawrence left the scene quickly, getting into Eve's vehicle and driving away as fast as they could. They were in Eve's vehicle because they both were jobless and bums. They'd actually asked a friend of theirs to drive them around to look for a victim, but their friend declined. So one of the boys took their own mother's car. They set out to rob somebody because they were too much of bums to have jobs of their own. So they chose someone innocent to just take some money from. Soon after Demario and Lawrence fled the scene, a woman living in a nearby neighborhood called police to report that she heard gunshots. Officers rushed to the area and checked the nearby woods. And this is when they discover the lifeless body of 22-year-old Eve Carson. She was deceased. Eve's family was contacted soon after, and they could not believe what police were telling them. They were devastated. Her friends were devastated. Her classmates were devastated. Eve was such a kind and caring person who always helped others. Everyone who knew her couldn't understand how someone like Eve could meet such a tragic end. How did someone like her deserve this? Eve hadn't lived in this community long, but this is the kind of impact she had on people. This case actually pissed me off. Like, it genuinely did. Eve has been passed away for 17 years now, and like, when I was first going over the case, I was just angry. Like, those pieces of shit But I don't even want to give them too much of my time, because they don't deserve it. They deserve worse than prison time. Anyways, these two dumb nuts didn't know that there was a camera at the ATM. And then police officers had gotten some tips. People, witnesses had recognized them. It all came together. Literally 3 days later, Demario was arrested. Then a day later, Lawrence was arrested. Demario got, I think, 2 life sentences, and then Lawrence got 1 life sentence. Yeah, I'm done talking about them. They should definitely got the penalty, if you know what I mean. They've been in prison, right, for 17 years. They're eating food every day. They're breathing. This beautiful, beautiful 22-year-old girl did not get to live as long as she should have. Eve is probably one of the prettiest girls I've ever seen in my life. She's stunning, absolutely beautiful. Her smile could just stop a truck. I will see you guys in the next case.